Hello everybody, my name is Kyle Lee, aka Kilo Loco from kiloloco.com, and today we're going to be going over StoreKit. Blah, get out of my freaking face, man. We're going to be going over StoreKit in-app purchases today. This video was supposed to come out last week, but ScreenFlow decided to delete my video, so you guys didn't get it, and I have to re-record it. So yeah, we're going to be using Xcode 9 Beta 2, Swift 4, and you do have to do this with an actual device. So you have to have an Apple developer account, and two, you're going to need a real device to plug in to actually go through this. It won't work in the simulator. So yeah, I'm gonna be using my iPhone 5 because it does require you to sign out of your current whatever iTunes account that you have signed in, and then make a fake account and then test it that way, which is really stupid, but I'm going to go through all that stuff with you guys, and you have to do that. So I'm using my iPhone 5. The skill level I set to intermediate. There's nothing really too crazy about what we're going to be doing. Anybody could follow along, but there's just a lot of different stuff that you have to deal with, including the Apple developer account. And the way that I'm going to be explaining it is I'm going to make a helper class for all of our in-app purchases, so that it's reusable throughout the project, which is the right way to do it, as opposed to just putting it all in the view controller and bad coding habits and all that stuff. All right, so where to find this project? If you weren't aware, kiloloco.com has officially relaunched with the Kiloloco Academy, so you can actually find all my YouTube videos here at kiloloco.com/p/YouTube, and everything's still going to stay on YouTube, but if you want the starter project and the finished project, then you will have to log in and then download it from there. So yeah, all right, let's go over what we're going to actually be building. We're going to be getting this, I called the one that I did for you guys last week called Get Paper. We're going to be going over this. It's just in a simple table view, and when you select one of them, something's going to pop up. It's going to prompt you to log in, and notice that this is test2 at kiloloco.com. I'm going to get into that right now. Hold on. Let me think about my password. It's tester135. Once we log in, it'll allow us to do the purchases. So do you want to make this purchase? Yeah, $2.99. Yes, whatever. And then it'll go and do whatever. And then it'll come back and say, yeah, you purchased this. There you go. You're all set. So we're going to go through each one of these, all 5 of them: consumable, non-consumable, auto-renewing, non-renewing, and restoring purchases. All of them are essentially the same thing, but if for whatever reason you can't figure out one of them, at least you have a video that goes over all of them. So yeah. All right, let's get into it. The first thing that we have to do is we have to set up our project. So let me just show you what we're working with on the starter project. So everything's essentially the same. One thing I want to point out is that I do have my deployment target set to 9.3, which has nothing to do with anything. It's just that my iPhone's really old and it has to be set to 9.3 because that's the version I keep it on, just to do test stuff for work. And then let's see, the main storyboard is a table view controller. It's not the original view controller. I deleted that, put in a table view controller, put a couple of static cells in here. They're all grouped, and have this all connected so that when we click on something, it just prints out to the logs. And I'll show you that right now. This project's called Money Please. So now when we tap consumable, well, it's not running. Well, when it runs, that's what's going to happen. It's just going to print out each of these. I just wanted to show you that all of this stuff is connected. But yeah. All right, so let's get into it. So first things first, we want to go up here to our main project, go to capabilities. We can't do any of this until we actually create it. So let's go to your favorite browser. Bam, we're going to open it up. First things first, we got to go to the Apple developer account. Go ahead and log in to do that. We're going to go to certificates, IDs, and profiles. From there, we will go to app IDs. We'll create a new one. We'll call this whatever you want to call it. Usually calling it whatever your project name is a good one. So money, please. And then we'll scroll down to the bottom. And we will put in our bundle ID. And just to make sure that there aren't any mistakes, we're just going to copy this. And we're going to go back. And we're going to go bam. Wham, bam. Thank you, Pam. All right, so in-app purchases is automatically pre-selected for you. All you have to do is just put in your bundle ID, press continue. You'll see that in-app purchases already enabled. Bam. Bam. All done. All right. So now what we can do is we could go back to our project and we can do some stuff where we do this. We go to capabilities. We go to, if I can find it, in-app purchases right there. Turn it on. It's going to look for your stuff. It's going to say, yeah, you're looking good, man. You're pretty sexy. I'm like, thank you. So from there, we go to iTunes Connect. Now, first thing that we want to do is we actually want to create users so that we can actually test our app. So if you don't already know how to create users, then follow along. If you already know, then go ahead and skip forward. Go to sandbox testers. As you can see, I have some of them right here. We're just going to click another one so that we have another one. And we're going to call this Ryan Reynolds, because Ryan Reynolds is my man crush. Yeah. All right. So, call this one test 3 at kiloloco.com. Go ahead and put in whatever you want. I'm not sure if it actually sends an email out, so just be wary of that. Password is going to be tester 135. Secret question: who you be? I is who I am. Dang, that's awesome. Any random birthday is fine. And then territories. So if you wanted to test out your in-app purchases on in different countries, what you would have to do is you'd actually have to make a separate user for each of the countries that you want to test in. I live in the United States, so I am going to put the United States because this is just a tutorial and I don't need to test anywhere else in the world. So yeah. No, we don't want to say password. So Ryan Reynolds. I'm not even sure if that's how you spell Ryan Reynolds. All right. So next, what we want to do is we want to go to My Apps. Let's do that. We want to create a new app. Bam. New app. Bam. iTunes. Call it whatever you want. I'm going to call it, what am I going to call it? Money, please. Yeah, that's right. There you go. Do these have to be unique? I can't remember. All right. So anyway, let's go down. Primary language is English US, baby. Choose a bundle ID. We're going to go through, click the one that you just made. SKU is going to be whatever you want. Money, please. 1 through 9, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, that works too. Yeah. So create that bad boy. It's going to open it up. We are going to go into features, and from here we're going to start in-app purchases. Now let's go ahead and go through each of these. Let's add them. First one's going to be consumable. Consumable is going to be something that you can constantly purchase. So if you're familiar with the game Clash of Clans, this would be like the gems. I think it's gems or rubies or whatever they have, the gems or the coins or whatever that you can keep purchasing so that you can upgrade your stuff faster. So that's what we're going to do, is consumables, stuff like that. So let's just call this my consumable. And then the product ID, you could literally just put in my consumable, but well, one, it doesn't allow spaces. You need to do it's like alphanumeric only, so just keep that in mind. But a good rule of thumb to name these types of things. Where am I going? Good rule of thumb is to actually use what your bundle ID is called, right? Remember, there's no alphanumeric. It's alphanumeric only. So remove any hyphens, underscores, or spaces, and then you do dot whatever your thing is called. So we'll just say my consumable, and we're actually going to I'm gonna just use this terminal as a placeholder for right now. So I'm gonna just type that in. That's gonna give me nothing back, obviously, but I just want to save it because I need to copy it later, not lady. Okay, so like I said, good rule of thumb: bundle ID plus whatever your product's name is, just to make sure everything's on the up and up. Now you want to choose a price. I'm gonna say consumable. Let's just start off at $2. Seems about right. You could see all the other currencies if you click here, conversions and all that goodness. It's taking a while, so yeah, you can see what is charged for these different countries and all that goodness stuff. So you can also have the display name. You could do it different, but usually what you would want to do is make sure that it is the same. And this is going to be what's going to be displayed on the App Store. You know, with iOS 11 coming out, the App Store is changing a lot. So you want to make sure that you give it a good name, pretty good description, so that people can really understand what you're doing or what you have to offer inside the app for purchases. So we'll just say this is some crazy consumable product. And I just made it kind of unique so that you could tell what happens when I actually see this message. All right, so next is the App Store promotion. Once again, this is like you could have like an image that represents your in-app purchase. Once again, like I said, the App Store is making a lot of changes. So if you want to better your chances of advertising whatever it is that you have to sell, then you could put in images like that right there. Also, you will need an image when you do submit. Like, this is optional, right, for the App Store, but for the review information, this is mandatory, but not right now. The screenshot is for when you're actually submitting the app for review, and one of the Apple testers or whatever have to actually see what is going on inside your app when the user is making a purchase, and you have to leave a description describing what they are purchasing and how they get there and all that other stuff. But yeah, none of that stuff is mandatory. For what we're going to do is I'm just going to show you how to implement the stuff. So right now, let's just go ahead and click save. Everything looks like it is set and good to go. Yeah, so now we just move on to the next, on to the next. Yeah. So this one's good to go. It says missing metadata. It's just that, like I said, it's not ready to be submitted to the App Store. But as soon as you add that image and that description, you're all good. All right, next we're gonna do non-consumable. Now the non-consumable is like the statues in Clash of Clans, the stuff that you would only buy once, or actually that stuff's bought with gems too, huh? I don't know. This would be like if you're playing a racing game, this would be like the track. Like you buy a special track, and you don't have to buy that particular track or map or level again. Once you bought it, it's bought. It's like downloadable content, all that other good stuff, and you don't have to buy it again. So yeah, and that means that you can restore that purchase as well. So yeah. All right, so reference name is my non-consumable. Yeah. So we just want to get our bundle identifier. I don't know what that accent was. I had a little bit too much coffee this morning. My goodness. All right, so bundle ID. Remember all that stuff that I told you? Yeah, just keep doing it. You're good, man. You're good. All right, so since you only want to buy this thing like once, it's probably going to be a little bit more expensive. $9.99 seems about right, something like that, something a little bit crazy. Content hosting. Okay, so once again, like I said, this is a restorable product. So that means once you buy it, you should own it forever. So what you can do is, since you own it forever, and if the user were to delete their device or delete their app and then reinstall the app, and that purchase was gone, you can restore the purchase, and you can also have the content be re-downloaded. So and this is for the first time purchase too. So if you want to have content that's stored with Apple that they actually have to download to the app when they make the purchase, and that interacts with your app some way, in a different way, this allows you to do that. And it also allows you to add content dynamically without having to re-release the app. But most of the time, from what I've seen, locked features inside the app are usually already inside the app. You just put like some type of blocker over it, and you wait to see if that user has purchased it. But you can store content on Apple that can be downloaded by the user, so that it's not already sitting on their device. They have to download that content before it's actually available on their device. We're not going through that today, though. All right, so display name, once again, let's just keep it the same. I don't really know why you'd call it something different, but yeah. We be getting that one-off content, yo, with the exclamation point. Once again, App Store promotional, all that good stuff. Bam, done, save. Look at how easy this stuff is. Like I said, it's not that hard to do this stuff. It's time consuming. It's going to be a long video. We haven't even got to the code yet. But it is what it is. All right, auto renewing. So this is like any normal subscription that you would think of in your mind. Netflix every month, that $9 or whatever it is. Hulu, $9 or $11, whatever it is. So let's go ahead and make that. For whatever reason, the flow is a little bit different. I mean, it asks all the same questions, but it's just a little bit different. My subscription, my auto renewing, auto renewing subscription, product ID. Dang, I didn't save the last one. It's okay. It's okay. Okay. All right. We're going to just pop that in there. Y'all. Going to copy that. Y'all. Bam. Next. All right. Subscription group reference. All right. So with subscriptions, you can have groups. And with groups, you could have like, let's say that you have a subscription for, let's say you just have a really broad app, and you could do a lot of crazy things in your app, and you have subscriptions for different things. Maybe you want to have a subscription for a group of content that's over here, and it's, you can have tiered content, and let's say these are for my let's say tech courses, right? These are my tech courses, and I want to be part, and there's like 3 tiers to the tech courses. So that would be, your basic, your intermediate, and your pro level tiers or whatever, right? So you could have different tiers. So maybe basics 10, intermediates 15, and then pros like 20, 25 or whatever. That could be one group, and you could segregate those tech courses subscriptions from maybe your music subscriptions or like your instruments courses subscriptions, where it's maybe it only has like 2 tiers or something, like basic and then pro or something like that. And those maybe the basic for the instruments or the whatever is like $15 for the basic and then $35 for the pro. So you can segregate these and then manage them separately. It helps, keep things organized within the portal essentially. So let's just say my group. We're not going to be going into any grouping today. We're not. This video is already long enough as it is. We don't need to do all this stuff, guys. Come on. All right. So this stuff, bam. We're gonna have to copy paste this. Oh, maybe not. Okay. All right. So as you can see, a little bit laid out a little bit differently. Essentially the same stuff. The duration. How often do you want this subscription to be called? Like, do you want it to be called every week, every month, every 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, right? How often is this subscription renewed? Or not renewed, but how often are you charging your user? Now, 1 month is what I usually see in subscriptions. I mean, feel free to do whatever you want, whatever makes sense to your user, but 1 month is probably the standard. 1 month and 3 months. 1 month and 1 year. Anyway, free trial. You can offer your customer a free trial. If you want them to pay right off the bat, then you say none. Maybe 3 days, 1 week. I would say give them a free trial, especially if your entire app is paid content. Then give them a free trial. Let them try it out for at least a week. Let them see the app and use it, because nobody wants to pay for anything right off the bat if they don't know if they like it. So I'm going to just say 2 weeks. I feel like that's a pretty good whatever. So, yeah. All right. So now we're going to set the starting price. So we're going to do this in US dollars. And, most subscriptions are about $19.99. So look at all this. Look at it. You could charge somebody $1,000 every week. Watch out for those apps. People are doing that with some apps, and they are making bad names for subscriptions. So, yeah, watch out for those. All right, so $19.99 every month after the first 2 weeks. It'll be renewed after the first 2 weeks, and then I believe it's going to show all the different currencies that it's related to. So it shows you all the conversions and all that stuff. Look at how expensive this is in some of these countries. Just looks like a lot of money. I don't know. Currency. It's weird stuff. All right. So we got our little starting price going. Available in 155 territories. That's pretty cool. In-app purchase, localizations. So you can, this is essentially the same thing as before, except now you actually have to specify which language. You could put different display names for different languages for the subscriptions. So I'm gonna just put that in there, like voila, and this is my super sexy club subscription. All right. So same old stuff that we've been going through, right? Same old optional and same old review information, right? Yeah. So if you wanted to add localizations for each of whatever the subscriptions are called, then you could do it right there in the same spot as before. But for whatever reason, the flow for subscriptions is a little bit different. All right, guys, so it finally saved. This is something that I've noticed about the auto-renewing subscriptions. It does take a little bit longer to save for I don't know what reason. Just don't mess with it. Just let it, sit there. It's not hanging. It's just, it takes forever. So, yeah. All right, last but not least, I said lease. Last but not least, non-renewing subscription. So let's go ahead and do that. And this one just looks like the normal one. Yep, told you. See, I know what I'm talking about. See, Kyle knows what he's doing. See, once again, well, I don't know what I'm doing that well because I didn't save this thing again. I pulled up Terminal, said I was going to start pasting everything in here, and didn't end up pasting anything in there. All right, so this is my whoa, what am I doing? My non-renewing subscription. Yay. Man, these names get long. My non-renewing subscript. Oh, look at. Oh, I thought it got stuck. Subscription. Look at how long these names are. Whew. That's the long stuff. That's some long stuff, Kyle. All right, so we're gonna do the same stuff. Let's say, oh, I didn't even describe what the non-renewing subscriptions are. So let's say, you know for certain that you are going to be launching a product and that the price is going to increase, but for like maybe the first year or something like that, you want to say, oh, this is a subscription, and I'm going to have upgrading later. I'm going to have upgrading later, so I just want to set this base price at like $50 or $100, and then next year is going to be like $200 or something like that. And then, I just want this first base subscription, and then people will have to go through a whole nother subscription process later. Like, let's say that you wanted to do that, or maybe that you wanted to just do a lifetime subscription. Subscribe now, lifetime, you get all my content forever. You could do something like that too. That's generally what this is used for. I don't really see a huge purpose in using it, but those are like two cases that you would use it. So let's just say we want to do it for like $100 lifetime subscription, or first year subscription or something like that, right? All right, so same old stuff. Bam. Get that lifetime Kilo Loco content. Yeah. All right, and then all the rest of the stuff is just normal, so we do that. Oh, while this is working, did I already save that? I already saved that one. Of course, I already saved that one. All right, so now we finally got everything into our in-app purchases, all the ones that we're going to be using. My auto-renewing, the consumable, non-consumable, and non-renewing. Wow, that's a lot of stuff to do. Okay, so we set up our developer account. We set up the iTunes users. We set up the actual subscriptions. Now let's actually start doing some stuff, right? Right. So first thing I want to do is I actually want to make a list of all the products that I'm going to be using inside the app. And I choose to do it through enums. I like using enums as namespaces. It just makes things a lot neater in my personal opinion. So that's what I'm going to do. And I'm going to call this IAP for in-app purchases, and I'm going to call it products. Did I spell that right? Probably, maybe, I don't know. Not products, but product. Kyle, you crazy. You crazy, boy. You crazy. All right. Enum IAP product. This part is completely optional. Product. Jesus. And it's going to be conform to the string protocol. We'll have case consumable is equal to something. And you know what it's equal to, boy. My consumable right there. See, this is why we copy it. And we're going to do this for each of them. So we have the consumable, non-consumable, auto-renewing, and non-auto-renewing. So let's just do that. Non-consumable, auto-renewing, subscription, and non-renewing subscription. And now what we actually have to do, well, let's make, this video is already long, might as well just make stuff look nice, right? I guess. Whatever. Whatever, Cal. Whatever you want to believe. Ah! Alright. We're just making stuff look nice. It's a little bit more readable. Alright, let's see what else did I save in here. I saved this one. The non-renewing subscription, so I don't actually have to go in there. Alright, so let's... what? Save anyways, man. Come on. Get your act together. Get your act together, mister. Non-consumable. We'll throw that bad boy right here. The reason why we have to do this is because we actually have to reference each of these. Seems kind of weird to me, but you gotta do it. I guess so. Maybe that like nobody else's app can just hack and see what type of consumable content you have and then try to do something weird. Extra layer of security, but yeah. Okay, so remember that we call each of these reference, like the reference IDs or the product IDs or whatever they were called. What was it called? The product ID. Now we have access to each of them by using just the IAP product consumable non-consumable blah 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 blah. All right, so now we have references to each of those. We're not going to use them right now, but we are going to be using them towards the end when we're actually wrapping all this stuff up and putting it together. So let's go ahead and get ready to get into the actual in-app purchases coding. Now, like I said earlier, I like to put all this stuff into a separate class so that it is reusable throughout the app. If you did have purchases throughout the app. Also keep all my content, all my in-app purchases content together. So let's go ahead and do that. New file, Swift Swift file, and then this is going to be called IAP in-app purchase service. I like that word, service. I don't like helper. It's a service. I'm more fancy than you. All right, so this is going to be a class. And we're going to call it IAP service. And because I believe that the in-app purchase libraries are written in C, they might be Objective-C, but I think they do have a C component. Yeah, probably a lot of Objective-C too. We have to subclass to, or we have to conform to an NS object. So let's go ahead and do that. NS object. Object. Yeah. All right. So just like any of my classes, my service classes, what I like to do is make the default initializer private. And since this is a NS object, I have to override init this. We're going to just make it so that you can't create an instance of the in-app service object and that we actually have to use a singleton. So static let shared equal IAP service. Bam. So now we have a singleton. Good stuff. All right. So what we have to do, the first thing that we want to do is we want to actually get all the products that we have. We want to say which products we want to get, and we want to get all the information back from those products so that we can create what's called a SK product, a StoreKit product. Now, when we start doing that, we want to import StoreKit. StoreKit sounds like a Street Fighter move or something. Like I said, we want to get all those products. So let's go ahead and say func get products. I don't know what's going on with the spelling today, guys. I'm sorry. I knew that this was going to be a long video, so I was like, I got to entertain myself somehow. I'm just talking a lot. So, yeah. So we're going to say let products be of type set. It has to be a set. It can't be an array. Not really sure why, but it does have to be a set. And what you want to do is you want to do a set of each of those products that we made, the IAP product. We want to do each of those. So IAP product dot, we'll just go down the list in the order that it is right here. So auto renewing subscription, and since obviously we're not working with our IAP products, like this isn't going to be a set of IAP product, it's going to be a set of strings. So you do have to make it a set of strings. So we're going to do raw value, which we did we conform to the string protocol. So now we do raw value, and that gives us a string. So yeah, and we're going to just do that for each of these. So auto renewing, we have consumable, raw value. I'm just putting these on different lines so everything looks a little bit cleaner for you guys. Just a little bit. All right. IAP product. Blah, 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 blah. All right. Non-renewing subscription, raw value. Bam. So now we have what is a set of strings. See that? Bam. If you're on a phone, you probably can't see that, but that says a set of strings. And now what we have to do is we actually have to make a request. So let request equal, you already know what it is, SK request, baby. Is it a SK? It's a SK product request. Product request. We're gonna initialize that with product, a set of product IDs, and we're gonna just pass in our products. Bam, just like so. We want to use our request. We're gonna say dot start, and yeah, so we're gonna start our request, and it's gonna actually try to get that information and then come back and show us what we got. But where it returns all that information is in an actual, it has a delegate. So what we want to do is we want to set the delegate to self, but we are not conforming to that delegate, so we need to do that right now. So we do an extension of the IAP service, and that is going to conform to SK products request delegate. We're gonna start that, and then if you got that new Xcode 9, baby, it does stubs. Love this stubs feature. You just drop that. If you're running iOS 3.0, 1, I applaud you, but 2, I don't want to know who you are, because I'd kill you. No, I'm just joking. I'm not killing nobody, obviously. So now that we're conforming to this delegate, once we get those products, it will say did receive response. And then with this response, so if we were to print response, it would just give us this SK product response. It would just show like the object. So we actually need the products, but we can't do that because it wouldn't print them properly. It just show each SK product object, like unuseful information. So what we actually have to do is we have to go through a for loop. So print, or no, for product. I mean, you could, I prefer to do mapping, but a lot of people don't know how maps work, so I don't want to go over it right now. For product in products, well, that's not a real thing, right? Response dot products, yeah. We are going to print the product dot, you guys want to do localized title? We could do localized title or product identifier. We'll do localized title just, because it's localized and we can read it easily. Yeah. Cool beans, Kyle. Cool beans, man. All right. So, right now we don't have this connected. So if I were to even try to test it, it wouldn't work. So let's go back to our Money VC, Money View controller. And what we'll do is we'll say IAP service, bam, shared, bam, dot get them products, boy. So we actually wrote some code. Now we get to test it, and now we get to see if anything happens. If everything works as expected, as soon as it launches in the logs, it should print out each of those products. We should have a total of 4 products: the consumable, non-consumable, auto-renewable sub, and the non-renewable sub. Oh, look at that. It's so pretty. Oh yeah. I like it. I like it a lot. All right. So now that we have those products, what we actually have to do is we have to have a reference to those products. So what we'll do is we are going to have a variable called products up here. And this is going to be equal to an empty array of SK products. SK product? Yeah, I think so. Yeah, sounds about right. SK product. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to say I'm going to say self.products is equal to response.products. Yeah. Yeah. All right. So now we are storing each of those products, and now we can start doing other stuff. Well, what do we want to do? We want to make purchases. Kyle, come on, get to it already. Stop talking. Just start coding. All right, Kyle. Or all right, me. I will. Or all right, my guy, friend. Purchase product. Purchase product. All right. Let me describe what I'm about to do right now. So remember that we have this IAP product as a namespace, right? So what we want to do is we want to take advantage that we have a namespace, and we want to be able to just pass in one of our IAP products, use that raw value, and then say, I want to purchase that specific thing. This makes the code nice and condensed, looks real sexy. I like it. You will probably like it, maybe. I don't know. Let's find out. And yeah, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to call IAP product. We're going to say purchase product, and it's going to be of type IAP product. If you didn't go with the namespacing like I did, then you could just put a string, and then you could just pass in the whole entire, name of whatever the product ID is. You could do it that way too, but I'm doing it the sexy way, and you're doing it the ugly way. So haha, shame on you. Yeah. So what we have to do is we have to do a guard let product to purchase. So we want to actually pass in a IAP product here, right? And use the raw value because that's what the string is, and we want to match it to something in here in the products. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a filter on the products and get that product that the product that matches whatever the raw value is of the IAP product. So we grab our products dot filter, right? And then we're just going to close it off because auto completing will mess your crap up. All right, so the object that's in question, we're looping through each object, right? So each object in the products array is a product. So we do dot, it's a SK product. So dot product, I believe it's called product ID. If it's equal to this product, the raw value of that product, which is a string, then we want to return it, which is, and we want the first one that comes out. So else return, right? So why isn't that working? Products, SK product. Did I call it the right thing? Product. Oh, it's actually called product identifier. Identifier. There we go. All right. So we're looping through. I shouldn't have done the filter. I didn't do the map, but I did the filter. All right. Well, I hope that makes sense to you guys. We're gonna find the product that matches that has a product identifier that's equal to the product raw value that we're passing through, and we want the first one, and that's gonna be the product that we want to purchase. Hope that makes sense. If it doesn't, then comment section's there. Say, Kyle, you're stupid. Don't know what the hell you're talking about. All right. So we have a product to purchase. Now we want to specify the payment. Not really sure why it's called payment. It's kind of a confusing name. Doesn't really have anything to do with payment, but yeah. Anyway, we have an SK payment. We're going to initialize it with a product, and we're going to do the product to purchase, right? And then once we have that product that we want to purchase, we want to say SK payment queue. So there's a payment queue. The payment queue is what's going to store all the information about the transactions that go on with this user's purchase history, essentially. And things get stored in the queue whenever you try to make a purchase, whenever you are purchasing, whenever you try to restore a purchase, and all that stuff gets stored up in a queue, and it stays there until you actually you finish that purchase, or resolve that purchase, whether it's failed or whether it actually went through. You have to resolve it, and then it clears off the queue. We're actually going to be referencing this SK payment queue a lot. So what I like to do is just have a variable that says, say, payment queue, and it'll just be equal to this SK payment queue dot is it shared or default? It's default. So we're going to be referencing this a lot, so it makes it a little bit easier when it's just payment queue like that. And what we'll say is we'll do payment queue dot add, and we want to add this payment, right? So we'll pass in our payment whenever we make that purchase so we're passing this payment to the queue. Now, we won't be able to access that queue, and we won't be able to really see what's going on unless we actually are observing that queue. So what we have to do is we have to create a whole nother delegate. It's a different way to initialize this type of delegate. It's an observer, I guess. It's still a protocol, whatever, I don't know. But you actually have to specify that you want this service class, this IAP service, to observe all the things that happen in the payment queue. So we want to do that right here. So we'll do, when we get the products, we set this class to be the observer. So we'll do payment queue dot add, and we have this observer, and see that it needs a SK payment transaction observer. That's essentially the protocol that we have to conform to once we add it. So we'll add ourself, which is this IAP service, right? Damn, why did the curly brace go all the way down there? It's like way down there. All right, so now we'll do an extension, IAP service, and we'll do SK, what was it called? Oh, payment queue. SK, what is observer? What is it called? Payment transaction observer. Payment transaction observer. All right. So once we are conforming to extension, oh, you idiot, Kyle. Look at, I did the wrong thing. Service. That's what you get for using autocomplete like a little punk. Boy. Look at this. This thing is not going through. Anyway, I'll do it myself. All right, so we have a payment queue that we have to add in there. So payment queue, and then it did receive updated transactions. So we need it updated transaction. This is the one that's mandatory. All right, so damn, this looks ugly. Let's move this. All right, so this will be called every time something is added to the transaction queue. So we're going to add ourselves. That'll update the transaction queue. What it'll do is it'll show everything that's in our transaction queue. And then when we add something, we'll also see that it's printing out what's in our transaction. Not everything that's in our transaction queue, but the current transaction in the transaction queue. So so what we would want to do is we want to see what's going on with the transactions and be able to read that type of stuff, right? So that we can understand what's going on. The problem is that, like I said earlier, that this stuff is written in either C or Objective-C, and you can't actually see what the status of the transaction is. If you were to try to read the status just based off of what is already given to you, you'd only be able to see the transaction state versus based off of what the hash number is, or like what the it would only show you like a number, right? It would show you like 0, and 0 is like failed, and 1 is like purchased, and 2 is like purchasing or something like that. It would tell you what's going on, but it would be in only numbers. It'd only be integers, and we want something that's a little bit more readable. So what I like to do is do an extension of the SK payment transaction state. We haven't got to this yet. You guys haven't seen it yet, but I'm gonna just build this out real quick because it helps. So we're gonna just add a function in here that's called status, and what this is gonna do is it's gonna return a string. And what we want to do is we want to go through each of the cases. So there's 5 different cases. The payment can be deferred, it can fail, it can be purchased, it can be purchasing, or it can be restored. So we want to go through each of those. So case dot defer is it? Oh, we have to do switch. Duh. Come on, Kyle. What are you doing, man? Like, I don't know, man. I don't know. Deferred. Print. All right, so we're gonna do each of these. Oh, poop. All right, so let's do each of those, right? And I said that there's 5 of them. So deferred, we have failed, purchased, purchasing, and restored. And all we want to do is just print out whatever the state is, because unfortunately it doesn't do this automatically for us, so we have to do it ourselves. And yeah, I mean, skip ahead, but I'm already almost done. All right, so now you'll actually be able to see what's going on for each of those. So just like in here, just like in the products request, when you get your transactions, they're not in a readable state. They're not in a readable state. So what we have to do is we have to loop through each of them and then print each of them in a special way. So what we'll do is we'll do for transaction in transactions. What we want to do is we want to print. We'll say transaction dot transaction state dot status, which is what we just made, right? And we want to print out the transaction product ID, so we can see what it is that we're actually trying to purchase. So you access the payment property of the transaction payment, and remember that it does have a product identifier associated with it. So now it will print out the status. I'm also going to print out just the transaction state so that you guys can kind of see what I was talking about, why we had to go through that extra adding the status to it. So if you were to try to print out this transaction state, it's just going to be a number, and you'll see that. So at least you know that I'm not crazy and I'm not making you guys jump through hoops that are completely unnecessary. But yeah, that's what we're doing. All right, so let's go ahead and go back to our money view controller. And what we're going to do is, because remember we added this purchase product function here. Now we can actually start purchasing things. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's purchase some stuff. Yeah. Purchase. IAP service.shared.purchase. We purchasing, and look at how awesome it is. Watch, you just do bam dot consumable, baby. Yeah, you see how nice that is? Look at one-liners, baby. Look at how small your view controller is. That's a whole new level of sexy. Like, damn, that's sexy. You sexy, baby. You sexy. Nice and sexy. Okay. What was this one? This was auto renew. Auto renewing subscription, and then non-auto renewing. Are you really not going to help me out? Why not? Oh, non-renewing subscription, because they didn't exist. God, come on. All right, so now we can actually start making purchases. So let's see if this bad boy goes away. What is that? What? Oh, Kyle, what did you do? You don't want that. We want return. Kyle. Oh, Kyle. Damn. Just when I thought you had it figured out. Shame. The shame is on you. I'm sorry, guys. My fault. I'm a bad man. All right. So, let's see if we can purchase some stuff, guys. Yeah, it's been like an hour and a half. We're not even done yet. We're almost done. But we're not done yet. Right? There's still some stuff I got to teach you. All right. So, as you can see, we automatically show all that information that we did by doing the getting the products and then printing them right here. So that stuff is still working. Nothing else was printed out because we have nothing left in the transaction queue. So when we do consumable, one other thing. So remember that you have to use test accounts, right? So right now on your phone, you're probably already logged in. What you want to do is you want to go down to iTunes and App Store. You want to go to Apple ID. You want to do sign out. Sign out. Leave it like that. Bam. Leave it alone. Leave. Bam. Go back to your app. Go to the InApp Purchases app. Try to purchase something. Use an existing Apple ID. Do not create one. It'll do some weird stuff. So we called this test 3 at kiloloco.com. That's what we did. We did that stuff. All right. So we test 135. Put in our password. All right. So it looks like it worked. Now it's saying now I can confirm if I want to purchase this. Remember that we made our consumable $199. I said it was like $2. Well, I'm gonna buy that. And look at all this stuff is all this stuff is going on. Look at all this stuff. All right, look at. So remember I told you that the transaction state would print out. Look at, so this is how it comes out. Unhelpful, not helpful at all. Terrible, actually. It's a really terrible thing. Like, what am I going to do with that? So that's why we had purchasing. So you see purchasing, my consumable failed. My consumable, it was purchasing at first and it failed because we weren't logged in. Right? So then when I tried it again, I logged back in, it failed because I canceled. When I logged back in as test 3 and I did purchase, it went to purchasing. And then when I was able to confirm that purchase, it says purchased, right? All right. So now, once again, purchasing. You see, I did the non-consumable and non-consumable right there. to Dow. And remember, that was $10, so we're going to buy that. Now I purchased that non-consumable. Wow, okay, cool. Now we do auto-renewing. All right, so this one has a little bit more information. Subscribe to my auto-renewing subscription. This subscription will start with a free trial lasting 14 days, which we specified the 2 weeks, after which you will be charged $19.99 on a 1-month basis. That's every month. All right, continue. All right, the subscription will continue unless canceled in settings at least 1 day before the subscription period ends. Bam, nice. All right, so we were purchasing that auto-renewing subscription, and we purchased my auto-renewing subscription. Okay. All right, last but not least, we want to do new or non-renewable. So we're purchasing the non-renewable, right? And remember, that's like the lifetime. So we said $100. I'm going to go ahead and purchase that. All set, ready to go. All right. So now we got all those. I want to go back over to consumable. I'm purchasing consumable. And if I try to buy it, this in-app purchase has already been bought. Now that's a problem. Because let's say if it was like gems, like in Clash of Clans, if you bought, 99 cents worth of gems, it doesn't give you an error saying this in-app purchase has already been bought. It will be restored for free. It doesn't like keep doing it. Like once you buy gems, you get to buy as many gems as you want. No, the problem is that we haven't cleared the payment queue. So let me go back. I'm going to stop the app. I know this is a long video, guys, but there's a lot that goes behind it. I know. I do know. I know. Bam. Okay, so now it's not going to say that transaction state. We're just going to look at the raw information. Okay. So let me just run this one more time. And now what you're going to see is our transaction queue, because remember, we have the get products in the view did load. So that's going to be the first thing that's called. And then we're going to get all those products in our transaction queue. And look, it lists everything that's gone on, right? So it lists the failed, right? And then it lists the my consumable purchases twice, right? And it says that because technically we did buy it again, but it says that it was restored. Now the problem is that, like I said, they're supposed to be consumable, and once you buy it, you have to buy it again if you want more of it, right? Well, the reason why it didn't work the way that we expect it to work is because we missed one last step, and the last part is to finish the transaction. So remember that there's all these different things that happen. There's all these different states that a transaction can go through. And each of them have to be finished unless it's purchasing. If you try to finish a purchasing, transaction, like while it's in the process, and you try to cut that short, you'll crash your app, and weird stuff can happen in the back end on the App Store. So we don't want that. So what we have to do is in the payment queue, updated transaction, what we have to do is we have to add a switch statement. So switch. Or you could do an if statement, whatever you want to do. I do switch statements. If transaction, or we're going to switch transaction state. So we're going to switch based off of that. Now, if it is purchasing, we don't want to do anything. So case dot purchasing, we're just going to break. All right. But for everything else, what we want to do is we want to say for that transaction, we want to finish. What was it? SK. How do I do this? Oh, we want to grab this queue, this payment queue that was passed in here. We want to grab this queue, or you can use the payment queue, whatever. It's safer to just use what's already offered to you inside the method, though. We're going to say queue dot finish transaction, and we're going to pass in that transaction. So now, whenever we do that get transactions, if there's anything in our queue, it'll automatically get cleaned up. And after it's finished purchasing, so when it goes from purchasing, it won't do anything, right? But after it has said purchased, whatever you purchase, it will immediately finish up that transaction, clear it out of the queue, and this way you can keep buying that consumable content. So let's go ahead and run that, and we should be good for that piece. And then after this, all we have to do is add the restore, which is already like really quick, easy method by itself. It's just payment queue.restore purchases or something like that. Super simple stuff. And yeah, good stuff, guys. All right, so look it. So we have this queue. Before I even do anything, I'm gonna just run this app again because it went through each of those. It printed them out, right? That means that it went through this updated transaction call. Now, when I run it again, all those transactions should have been cleared up. You see that? Bam. Now we're just listing what products are available for purchase. So our payment queue is cleaned up. Now, if I do consumable, if I want to purchase those gems or coins or whatever the hell you want to sell to these people, we're going to buy it. We're going to say, okay, you're all set. It went from purchasing to purchase. That means that it did go through right here. It did print out the status, which means that if it was purchased, then it went through, it finished the transaction. And now if I click consumable again, I'll buy. And now I purchased it again. All right. So that'll work on the consumable and the non-renewable. I could buy the non-renewable. So if you are doing non-renewable, make sure that you do lock that its availability out of the app completely once it's purchased, because that's something that you need to store in your backend. For the non-consumable and the auto-renewing, those are restorable. So you'll see that even though our transaction queue is cleared, when I do the, do you want to buy this? Okay, I want to buy it. Well, you've already purchased this. Would you like to get it again for free? Yeah, see how it's already cleared, but it's already being restored. So we're all set. Same thing for this transaction. You're currently subscribed. Your 1 month subscription renews on that day. To review subscription settings, blah, blah, blah. Okay. We wait for it. All right. Okay. Yeah. So it's just saying, okay. So we didn't need to do anything. So that's all I'm saying is that the non-consumable and the auto-renewing can be restored. The consumable and the non-renewable cannot be restored. They're purchased like as consumable, obviously. All right. Last piece, guys. We're almost there. I know it's been a long freaking video. You probably had to get popcorn for this. All right. So we're going to restore purchases. Man. And all we have to do is, well, first we want to just say, okay, we're restoring stuff because, restoring purchases. Okay, we just want to make sure that we called this function properly whenever it gets called, because not much happens. And all we have to do is do payment queue dot restore completed transactions. That's all we got to do. And now we go back to our money VC. Throw it in here. Do that IAP service. Bam. Dot shared. Bam. Dot restore. Store. What did I call it? Didn't I call it? Didn't. Restore purchases. That's what I called it. You idiot. Stupid Xcode doesn't know what it's doing. Restore purchases. There we go. Look at how small that view controller is. That's so damn sexy. All right. So now when we do the restore purchases, this will give you the opportunity to watch for that. If it's restored, you can download the content, all that other stuff using other methods, but we're not going to cover that. You sat here for, I don't know, hour and a half. It's been a long time. let's go ahead and click this. Click that restoring purchases, restored. Look at, see, it restored them. Bam, bam, and that's all. So that is how you do in-app purchases, guys. I hope that I went over everything that came across your mind as a question. If I didn't, then I don't know what to tell you. That there's so much information, I can't go over literally everything. But I hope this was enough to get you started, get in-app purchases in your app, and use this as a reference guide. Not an easy one, you have to skip through the video a lot, but at least every single step is there for you to do it. Once again, if you do want the starter and finished product, you can pick that up at kiloloco.com/p/YouTube. So that P is for pages, and it's not for PP. And yeah, so right there, you can pick it up here. Make sure you enroll in my courses. It's completely free, completely free. Make sure you give this video a thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you're watching this on YouTube, and be sure to reach out to me on Twitter. That's the easiest way to get in contact with me. If you guys have any suggestions, leave them in the comment box on the course, not in the YouTube section, because anything that goes in the course, those ones are now going to be taking priority on what I cover. And yeah. All right, guys. Once again, my name is Kyle Lee, aka Kilo Loco from kiloloco.com. And as always, you better be coding passionately. All right. See you later, guys.